everybody, this is Julie Lancaster of Lancaster Consulting, and I'm here to talk with you today about how to create trust and high morale within a team. So this is for if you're in a leadership role or if you're not in a leadership role. It works in all directions. We have 5 ideas for you that you can implement starting today. You may be doing some of these already. The first is to ask for constructive feedback. Don't just wait and don't have the idea that, oh, if they have something to share, they'll come to me and tell me. I want you to ask regarding you, yourself, and the way you communicate, the way you whatever, so about you specifically, and about your processes. So for example, let's say you run a particular departmental meeting. At the end of your meeting, if you can say, well, everybody, perhaps please write down one thing that you like in regards to how these meetings work, and one suggestion you have for making these meetings even more effective. Something like that. Probably the most important thing though is after you do that, share the results and what you're willing to change. You don't have to change everything, but people don't want to think that you're just asking and doing nothing. So come back the next meeting and say, I really appreciate your feedback. What really stood out to me was X, Y, and Z, and this is what I'm going to try. So that's the first part. The second part is work to create a no gossip culture. And what I mean by that is, gossip will quickly erode a culture, a feeling of trust amongst a group. Whenever I get called, that's a common thing that people are saying, we want to change this. So if you're not quite clear on what gossip is, what I found is that people often are not clear. Use this as your definition. Do not talk about a person at work if they are not in the room, unless you are giving them an extremely positive compliment behind their back. Now, if you're trying to get feedback as to how to work with somebody differently or better, make sure you are only doing that in an upward movement, meaning you might talk to your supervisor about how to deal with your colleague better who has some difficult behaviors for you, never to a colleague themselves. So that's the second. The third is figure out how to let go of micromanaging. Now, if you tend to lean toward being a micromanager, that means that you care about quality results. Your heart is in the right place. So this is what to do differently to still get quality results. This is where they say that phrase, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So it's all about the planning. Before you start off on some project, sit down together with the other person, with the team, whatever it might be, and talk about how you're going to go through the motions. Then have a scheduled time for checking in so that you can make corrections together along the way. But if you're the person looking over someone's shoulder and saying, oh no, fix that, oh no, do that differently, that will erode trust and morale quickly. Now the fourth for you is, you may have heard in some of these other videos about the 5-to-1 rule. In terms of having a healthy, positive relationship, the idea is to share 5 positives to 1, I won't say necessarily negative, but 1 area where you want to correct somebody's behavior. And you can't just do that right when you're thinking of the negative thing. You can't, say, here are 5 things and rapid fire and then shoot off the 1 corrective. You have to keep having this positive focus. Look for somebody's strengths. Tell them what they're doing well. That will create a culture where people feel appreciated and valued, which is really important in a workplace. Then the 5th is, remember that you are only one person. So yes, you have a very important role in creating trust and high morale, but you want to figure out how to create a culture where people are doing this for one another. So a few ideas are, let's say you run a staff meeting. Perhaps you're not in a leadership role and you don't run a staff meeting. You can communicate with your leader to say, hey, I have this idea. At your staff meeting, instead of just the regular updates that people may do, switch it a little bit for people to share what's one success you've had this week. In that way, it also informs people as to what's going well. Another idea is at some meeting or some gathering, ask everybody to share one thing that they've appreciated from this past week about someone in the group. To make sure there's some equality, ask them to say something about the person on their right. If you can't think of something good to say about somebody, it says more about ourselves than it does about that person. You can also use that phrase to get them to really recognize that there's got to be something good that they can find. Other ideas are you could create some sort of peer nomination system for some awards, be them really official or also just fun. So for example, if you have 3 values within your organization, perhaps integrity, innovation, and safety, ask people to nominate their peers. You could even just have a box, something like that, write down which value they are connecting this nomination to and why. That's an idea. And the last is create a culture where you ask for people to, instead of just sharing criticisms, which we can tend to be good at doing that because we see where things aren't working. Instead of just sharing the criticism, they need to share a suggestion. If they're going to say something's not working, they need to accompany it with a suggestion, meaning that's creating a solution-oriented kind of culture. So there you have it. If you'd like some more ideas or you'd like to learn a little bit more, head on over to lancasterleadership.com, and thanks so much.